Yo, what's good, y'all? It's E-Man and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Ranking video. We've done it with Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic, we've done it with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, now it's time to rank the Duelist in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. If you've seen my previous videos, I have said I'm only ranking these characters on their dueling ability. So no matter how cool the character was, it only matters if they're a good duelist. I'm gonna put the link for the other two videos in the comments down below, and I do plan on doing this for every single series throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! But without further ado, let's get into it. The top duelists in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Let's do it. In our number 10 spot, we got Akisa Zinski. Although I think that Akisa was in her strongest during the Dark Signers arc, she does carry out a lot of power throughout the end of the series. But I think the only reason she seemed weak later in the series is because she became a turbo duelist and had to go up against completely new opponents in a completely new field. But at her base psychic duelist self, she was insanely powerful. In all of her regular matches, like against Yusei or Sherry or anybody else that wasn't a turbo duel, she was showing off some impressive strategy. Although she's won up against some very strong opponents, I just don't think that I can put her against the rest of the people on this ranking list. She's really making it to the number 10 spot on her dueling ability alone. Her as a turbo duelist was a little bit lackluster, but that's not to say she's a bad duelist at all, so she's going to be in our number 10 spot. Next up on the list, we got Bruno / Antinomy. We know that Antinomy is a very good duelist, but his duel record doesn't really show it. He kind of had some good matches against the robot army, and he dueled Yusei on multiple occasions. In those duels, Bruno is teaching Yusei things that he never knew about dueling. And he was taking out those duel bots with great skill. But other than Yusei and some duel bots, we don't really see Bruno go up against anybody else. It is a true shame that we didn't see him duel, because I know he would have been so much further on this list as a duelist, but I just can't put him higher with the proof of dueling that we have for him. Plus, when you're going up against Yusei, it's not really a recipe for victory. That being said, I still think that he's one of the strongest duelists we've seen in 5Ds. Plus, he's responsible for teaching Yusei the Excel Synchro, and that's gotta count for something. And for that reason, Antinomy is gonna be in our number 9 spot. In our number 8 spot, we got Crow. I feel terrible putting somebody from Team 5Ds this low on the list, but there's a lot of duelists in 5Ds and he's still cracking top 10. Crow only lost one 1v1 duel, but it was to Linden. I know technically he threw that match, but it's still a loss on his belt. I do still think that he is the weakest duelist out of Team 5Ds. But he's beaten people like Greiger, Goodwin, and Lazar, who are all extremely good duelists. He had help in a couple of duels, but he was still one of the winning factors of many of the duels that he had. Like in his duel against Sherry, Aki could not have won that duel without Crow. I could see people arguing for Crow to be higher or lower, but I think that this spot fits him perfectly. In our number 7 spot, we got Haldor. Haldor is a member of Team Ragnarok, which is the team that 5Ds went against in the Grand Prix. Haldor knows how to use his cards very well, but he also has one of the strongest decks that I've seen in 5Ds. During his match with Yusei, he was able to pull out Thor, Loki, and Odin, which are all insane cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! It seemed like Haldor's whole game plan was lowering the attack and defense of Yusei's monsters, which was a very smart plan based on how strong Yusei's entire deck plus Stardust the Dragon is. And honestly, and if it wasn't for Yusei Excel Synchro summoning Shooting Star Dragon, I don't know if he would have won that fight. So for this reason, I think Haldor deserves the number 7 spot. Now in our number 6 spot, we got Jack Atlas. Now I know this might be controversial, but a lot of the people that Jack went against were very, very good duelists, and a lot of the people Yusei went against are better than Jack. There are main villains that I think there is no way Jack could have won against them. But he is still a spectacular duelist. Throughout the whole beginning of 5Ds, Jack Atlas was the greatest duelist in the world, and nobody was touching him except Yusei. But I think that a lot of Jack's story was kind of his fall from grace of being the greatest duelist in the world and then losing to other people. Throughout the World Racing Grand Prix, he showed a lot of skill, but he was also a lot of the reason that they lost some of the battles that they lost. Throughout the Grand Prix, Team Ragnarok and Team Unicorn were big hurdles for Jack Atlas. But also during the Grand Prix, a lot of times Jack was able to step up to the plate and deliver what he needed to do, but he would still lose the duel, but he was the reason that Team 5Ds was able to win the full battle. He was able to beat a lot of characters, whether it be fodder like Trudge or anybody else, or some very, very competent duelists like Team Ragnarok or Team Unicorn. He is undisputed a great duelist. In the number 5 spot, we got Paradox. This is where you're about to realize just how crazy the villains that 5Ds was going up against. This is the reason why Jack and Crow and all these other amazing duelists are lower on the list. And some other fantastic duelists aren't even on this list because of people like Paradox. Paradox, he needed Yusei, Jaden, and Yugi just to defeat him. He was out here taking everybody's duel monsters. They needed the aces of their deck. All 3 protagonists needed Neos, Dark Magician, and Stardust Dragon just to beat him. Paradox was walking around with some of the strongest cards in the franchise. He stole Rainbow Dragon, he stole Cyber End Dragon. Of course he lost in the end, but you gotta have mad skill to be able to fight Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei all at once and not get obliterated in the first couple seconds. So for that reason, Paradox has secured his spot. In the number 4 spot, we got Aporeia. Aporeia was one of the strongest villains of 5Ds. He was so strong that he seemed like the main villain of the second half of 5Ds. Although Aporeia lost to Team 5Ds, which is Jack, Crow, and Yusei, they had to triple team him to take him down. He then goes on to lose against Luna, Jack, and Leo, but that's another triple team that he was absolutely working them in. He basically won that fight. He took out Jack and he took out Luna, but Leo just happened to save them all with some super mystical BS of him magically randomly becoming another signer. Without that, without him actually giving them life points back, which is insane, Aporeia would have wiped the floor with them. And that was a 3-on-1. Spoiler for later in the list, he also loses to Zone, but Zone just is stronger than him. So he's absolutely an incredible duelist, and he's gonna be in our number 4 spot. In our number 3 spot, we got Goodwin. Rex Goodwin was the ultimate boss of the Dark Signers arc. Team 5Ds goes against Goodwin, and he is by far the toughest opponent they have ever gone against. It is kind of hard to rank him because we've only seen him duel once, and I'm kind of trying to mix him in between the people that he fought, who are some of the strongest characters in the show. So if you disagree with this one, I get it. Honestly, he could be higher or lower, but I digress. But he was able to take out Jack and Crow before Yusei put them hands on him. But he was absolutely a strong duelist and a fitting super boss for Team 5Ds. And I definitely believe if he had more duels, he probably would have been able to win the large majority of them. But I'm not here to speculate. I'm going off of the duel that he did have, which showcased a great amount of skill. So he's gonna be in our number 3 spot. Now in our number 2 spot, we got Zone. Zone is the final boss of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Although we only saw him duel twice, it seemed like he whooped Aporeia with ease, as if he knew everything that was going to happen in that duel. Plus being able to give Yusei by far his hardest duel yet, I think Zone has to be in this spot. Side note, I think that Zone versus Yusei is one of the greatest duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, but Zone is shown to be one of the strongest duelists in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! History. I think that his duel with Aporeia was able to exhibit just how strong and how smart and strategic he is, but his duel with Yusei kind of showed the power in his deck and the things that he can actually do. But in that final battle, Yusei literally had to pull out every single stop he had in his deck and within Team 5Ds as signers. He had to use every ounce of his power to beat Zone. And honestly, without the signers and shooting Quasar Dragon and all of the other power boosts that he got in that last battle, I don't even know if Yusei would have won that fight. Personally, I think it's not even debatable that Zone has to be one of the strongest duelists in 5Ds, granted all of Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you want to argue in the comments, I will gladly debate with you. In just about every Yu-Gi-Oh! That I've watched so far, actually every Yu-Gi-Oh! That I've watched so far, the main character has been the best duelist in the series. But when it comes to 5Ds, nobody has the dueling ability that Yusei Fudo has. If you truly believe that Yusei isn't the best duelist in GX, please let me know in the comments. I would be happy to debate with you. But I don't think that there's any way anybody could put someone above him in this series. By the end of this series, I think every single person on this list, he has beaten more times than they've beat him. And these are the best of the best. So it only makes sense for Yusei to sit atop of them all. Yusei from the beginning of the series has been putting the hands on every single duelist he has encountered, whether it be Jack, Aporeia, Akisa, whoever you can think of, he has gone up against them and absolutely slaughtered them. So if you don't think it's my boy Yusei, go argue with a wall. Or, of course, you can argue with me in the comments. But that does it for the best duelists in 5Ds. Let me know, was this an accurate list? What you would have changed? If your favorite character wasn't on this list, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to do another version of this of like maybe the worst duelists in 5Ds. I don't know. But if y'all rocked with the video and y'all want more videos like this, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out my other videos for the best duelists in Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And be on the lookout for me doing the other shows, because those are going to be coming soon. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Be out. Peace.